This weekend, Los Angeles will see something it's never seen before. Part of the 405 freeway will shut down. The river of cars, trucks, and motorcycles will stop flowing between the west side and the San Fernando Valley. In Sepulveda Pass, the freeway lanes will go silent for 53 hours, from Friday night until Monday morning. A normal summer weekend would see 500,000 drivers on this stretch of freeway. This weekend will be anything but normal. If drivers don't heed warnings to stay off the road, freeways could jam up from Costa Mesa to Castaic. Traffic could spill off the freeways onto city streets and into quiet neighborhoods and canyons. Delays, say officials, could last for hours. All this is so demolition crews can begin tearing down the Mulholland Drive overpass. The bridge at the top of Sepulveda Pass provides access to schools, cultural centers, and hillside neighborhoods. The contractor has added help to work day and night, hoping to avoid the worst-case scenario, the freeway closure continuing past the weekend. At midnight Friday, the clock starts ticking. Real chaos and serious economic loss could result if 10 lanes of freeway aren't open as promised at 5 a.m. on Monday. It's a high-wire act with no net, and the world will be watching. Southern California's freeways are essential lifelines. They make living here possible. Los Angeles is the only big city split by a mountain range, the Santa Monicas. The 405 pierces that divide, linking the beaches and West L.A. with the San Fernando Valley, home to 1.7 million people. As everyone knows who commutes on the 405, it's one of the country's most congested freeways. It connects Orange County and San Diego with the rest of the West Coast. The 405 serves the nation's largest seaport complex at San Pedro and Long Beach. And it's the main route to Los Angeles International Airport for millions of travelers every year. The 405 is so crucial in the life of Southern California that a single event can cause widespread disruption on and off the freeway. For everyone from commuters to soccer moms to surfers at Santa Monica Beach, the 405 is a force of nature they must contend with daily. If it doesn't work right, LA doesn't work right. But something's being done to help commuters. It's a joint project of Caltrans, the agency that maintains California freeways, and Metro, the bus and transit agency. They're adding a carpool lane from Interstate 10, the Santa Monica Freeway, up through Sepulveda Pass to the 101, the Ventura Freeway in Sherman Oaks. They're taking 3 years to do it, and they're getting a little over $1 billion in federal, state, and local funding to pay for it. That $1 billion is going to buy a lot more than an HOV lane. First, to add the carpool lane, the 405 has to be widened, with new shoulders and a center median. It will create a continuous HOV lane from Orange County to the Valley. Bridges at Sunset Boulevard, Skirball Drive, and Mulholland Drive are being replaced. On- and off-ramps are being modernized to help smooth out traffic at 3 major bottlenecks at Wilshire Boulevard, Sunset, and Santa Monica Boulevard. And other fixes made to bring the freeway into the 21st century. All this work requires an intricate feat of engineering to erect massive retaining structures on the sides of the canyon, with anchors sunk deep into the rock. A 96-inch water main, oil pipelines, and other utilities have to be moved. More than 1,000 workers are on the job, with most of the work done at night to keep traffic moving.
Yeah, the biggest problem here is definitely traffic. Every
To widen the freeway, the bridge has to be torn down and rebuilt with a longer span. The work's being done in halves, so the 2 lanes of traffic always remain. The south side of the bridge will be demolished this weekend and rebuilt over the next 11 months. Then crews will tackle the north side. If this were anywhere else, the cars would simply be directed off the freeway, detoured around the bridge, and steered back on a mile later. Fearing total gridlock, the LAPD and other city officials plan to pre-deploy police officers, fire trucks, and paramedics in neighborhoods affected by the closure. If you know the area, you might think you'll take Sepulveda Boulevard. Think again. It's going to be closed to all but local traffic. Traffic won't be just a west side problem. Drivers trying to escape freeway jams are expected to flood through city streets, making all travel difficult.
It could be so bad in terms of traffic that the black and whites can't get through.
The 405's biggest single traffic headache is LAX. The airport is 7 miles from the nearest freeway closure, but 20,000 employees need to come to work over the weekend. And as many as 340,000 passengers will arrive or depart on flights. For many of them, the 405 is the main way in or out. Airport officials are blanketing terminals, the web, and travel agents around the world with information on the 405 shutdown. With a project this big and complex, there are winners and losers. On the west side of Los Angeles, people go to sleep and wake up to the roar of the 405. The freeway is a major source of air pollution, spewing small particles that lodge deep in the lungs. Those people might actually enjoy the quiet this weekend. For one beautiful weekend, living right next to the 405 won't be so bad. It will be quieter, and no pollution will be flying off the freeway. The losers are anyone who needs the 405 to get around or to make a living. Businesses along the 405 corridor are anticipating millions of dollars in lost sales. Business losses can add up fast over a summer weekend. The Getty Center and the Skirball Center, both located in Sepulveda Pass, are closing for the weekend. UCLA's Ronald Reagan Medical Center, the top trauma center in the affected area, is mobilized for full operation. Some staff will stay overnight in residence halls to be nearby in case of emergency, and the medical center's rooftop helipad could be in use too. The economic impact of the shutdown may never be calculated, but between the business losses and extra municipal resources being spent, the hidden costs are well into the millions. The 405 work will deal out plenty of collective pain, but for some, there's a silver lining. The 405 freeway is a physical feature of the landscape as much as the Pacific Ocean, and it may have as much impact on how people feel about their lives on a given day. The 405 divides neighborhoods, but it wasn't always that way.
The freeways aren't simply infuriating transportation corridors for motorized Angelenos. They really replicate the history of transportation throughout the entire period of human habitation in Los Angeles County. They're the routes of the Native Americans who passed through in the Paleolithic period. They're the routes of Spanish conquest in the late 18th century. Their history in the landscape.
The West Side grew into its own downtown, with LA's busiest intersection, Wilshire and Westwood Boulevard. Congestion has expanded out of the peak times to cover 15 hours a day on average and spill over onto streets like Wilshire Boulevard.
Many people are shocked to learn that the New York urbanized area, which is the contiguous urbanization around New York, actually has a lower population density than the Los Angeles urbanized area. But the
Los Angeles traffic is not caused by what you think. People actually drive less in Los Angeles than in the typical metropolitan area, and they use transit more. LA has the second most transit riders in the country. In other words, our traffic is not just a factor of too many cars.
The traffic is so heavy here because we would normally be, a suburb of the downtown area, and yet we have downtown-like densities around here. And that's part of the reason why congestion is so heavy on the west side.
Even after the 405 project is finished, rush hour will still be bumper to bumper, but there should be fewer hours of congestion on a typical day. With the freeway running smoother, traffic should flow more easily on Wilshire and other streets, but congestion, it's here to stay.
Are we going to have free-flow congestion on the surface streets? Not at this level of development activity, no. Not with Century City and Westwood and UCLA and the variety of other sort of dramatic employment generators we have. And
what about rail? Not viable in Sepulveda Pass. Toll lanes were considered, but they're not as politically tolerable as carpool lanes.
You're not going to be delayed if you don't get on a freeway that weekend. You just stay home and try to find something to do for that weekend that avoids the freeways.
I'm not planning to come this way.
There's a chance we don't get this right, and Southern California grinds to an agonizing halt, where 53 hours will feel like 53 days. Or enough of us could stay home that it turns out like the 1984 Olympics.
Back in 1984, we told ourselves that life was going to be terrible because of the Olympics arrival and that we should do something about it, and we did. We may get lucky. We may have an Olympic miracle.
No matter what, this will be a memorable weekend along the 405 and across Southern California.